Wow. After an absence of over a month, I appreciate you guys for your support. Thank you very much. For those of you that don't know, I've been going through some really difficult personal circumstances as I lost a member of my dear family. And it's affected me, and I've had a lot to do as the only child. And thankfully, though, everything needs to move on for the good of everybody, including myself, including my audience, and of course, especially my family. I appreciate your support through this, and let's get on with the first ever edition of the CellPhonius podcast after that brief parentheses. Again, appreciate your being with us, and I ask that you continue to be of my support. Now, let's get on with the news, shall we? First up in the news, we've got the fact that the Moto G is touted as being the most successful Motorola smartphone ever. The most successful ever. Think about that. Well, see, it's not hard to see why it's so popular, says the Droid Guy. At $179 off contract for an 8GB model and $200 off contract for a 16GB model, it's an affordable phone for everybody. You can even find it for prices as low as $100 on Verizon and Boost Mobile. So, is the Moto G the most successful phone ever to be made by Motorola? I don't know. I tend to think that the Motorola Droid had a measure of success that could be comparable. But at this price point, we've really never seen anything come out to the market that have had the success that this phone has had. And just like the Droid Guy mentions, the Moto G has been the most successful, highest-selling smartphone in Motorola's history. Way to go, Motorola. And according to the Register, a UK publication, with the release of new research that shows that mobile monitoring applications can actually bypass Apple's app review process and successfully exploit non-jailbroken devices. See, the potential attackers can either use phishing, says the publication, to mislead the victim into installing a malicious app or exploit, and that vulnerability can actually infiltrate another app before running in the background monitoring app. So FireEye has created such a proof of concept monitoring app on non-jailbroken iOS 7.0.x devices to underline its concerns. The research from FireEye, released on Monday, says the publication, covers similar ground to separate research into touch loggers. Now, what are touch loggers? For those of you who don't know, they're a touchscreen key logging malware by TrustFace, also unveiled at this week's RSA conference in San Francisco. TrustWave's research involved the creation of proof-of-concept malware for rooted Android and jailbroken iOS devices, but didn't look into the risk of non-jailbroken iOS devices, the focus of FireEye's research. So FireEye is actually working with Apple on resolving the issue. In the meantime, it reckons the only way for iOS users to avoid the security risk is to use the iOS Task Manager to stop the apps from running in the background. So I'm going to repeat that again. The way around this, my iPhone friends, is that in the meantime, you need to avoid the security risk by using the iOS Task Manager to stop the apps from running in the background. And IBMLive.in.com, yes, it's a website from India, has done a review of the Galaxy S5. And it's kind of interesting to see their perspective on the phone. And I'd like to kind of describe what they were talking about. They're talking about the Samsung Galaxy S5, including more fitness items or things that will cater to fitness buffs, such as a fitness tracker, a pedometer, a heart rate monitor. And one nice change is that unlike Samsung's first smartwatch, the publication says, the new ones pair with a host of Samsung phones, giving customers more options for their primary device. Samsung also plans to introduce a slightly cheaper version called the Galaxy 2 Neo, or the Gear 2 Neo, which won't have a camera or come in as many colors. The company has yet to announce pricing for any of its new products. Fitness aside, the S5 phone includes some other significant upgrades, the publication continues, from its predecessor. Some of the biggest changes are in its camera. Its 16 megapixels makes it sharper than the S4, which of course only had 13 megapixels. And it's also designed to focus faster and lets you blur the foreground or background of an image to emphasize the subject. The phone also has a fingerprint sensor. I wonder where that idea came from. And while that's used to or in place of the passcode. And if you want to allude to the fact that iPhone was the first one to do it, try a little bit long ago and just go to another one of my podcasts. I actually tell you who the first fingerprint sensor phone was created. And it was an Android, ladies and gentlemen, not an iOS device. And so the fingerprint sensor is used in lieu of a passcode to unlock the phone and to make also mobile payments, which is another thing that you can make mobile payments through PayPal through the phone. And it's splash and dust resistant, as well as bound to prolong, of course, the phone's life for many people, as, you know, it'll have less scratches and like. An added incentive for parents is that the phone's kid mode will let you hand your phone off to your child without the fear that they'll stream something inappropriate from your Netflix queue or access your email. In short, Samsung's 5S's improvements might be enough to entice current Samsung fans to upgrade their S4 devices, while its fitness features could draw in some converts as well, especially those interested in purchasing a smartwatch to go along with the Samsung Galaxy S5. In other news that is tech-related, and a move that shouldn't surprise anyone, says InfoWorld, Microsoft has released Office 2013 Service Pack 1, known as KB. Jot this down, 2817430. The update for the on-premises versions of the Office, or the Office products, if you will, has been widely anticipated since last year. And of course now, quietly, those of you renting Office 365 need not be concerned, because you'll also get the updates as well. Of course, they'll be automatic. So, for those of you that have Office 360 or Office 2013, Service Pack 1 is on its way. Attention Nokia fans. The Nokia XL, a big Android phone with big ambitions. So says Wired. Well, from Barcelona, Spain comes the report that the mobile industry was set ablaze yesterday with the arrival of a new family of Android-powered handsets from the soon-to-be Microsoft-owned manufacturer Nokia. 3 new Nokia devices were previewed here at Mobile World Congress: the mid-sized Nokia X, the similarly sized X Plus, and of course the large Nokia XL. And of course there are some hands-on photos of the NXL on www.wired.com, and then all you have to do is click on the subject, the Nokia XL, to see more pictures. What do you think about this? Do you think Nokia married with Android will really mean Nokia's comeback? Do you think it'll start now competing with the big dogs like Samsung, LG, and the likes of Motorola, and perhaps, to a certain extent, HTC coming back? Which, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw, but HTC put out a pretty interesting little smirk, if you will, whereby they are chastising those that will have buyer's remorse for buying the S5. Now, I think that's pretty funny, and I'm glad that HTC is getting gutsy and, taking a jab at it, John Ledger style. Hello, John Ledger, shout out to you. At any rate, that is what we have for Nokia lovers. Do you think that Nokia XL will make it to your list of favorite phones this coming year? And AT&T customers, pay attention, because if you've got a Samsung Galaxy S4, you will be getting the Android 4.4.2 over-the-air update tomorrow, February 26th. So, yay for AT&T and their moves. Have you heard about their moves? Goodness gracious, I like the way you move. Yeah, I wasn't here to sing, but I will tell you, though, that AT&T is bringing up a lot of really good subjects, pleasant subjects like discounts. Okay? International texting, free from any AT&T handset. that is exciting news. Will that carry on the VAIO? Or, did I say VAIO? IO. My apologies. I'm over here quoting Sony instead of AT&T. Anyways, they sound as similar as the colorist T-Mobile's. Oh, no pun intended there. But anyways, that update is coming. The KitKat update for the Samsung Galaxy S4 is coming and rolling across the lineup of the S4 for AT&T customers. And of course, the international text messaging for free is also coming to those on the shared plans. And at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, what would it be without PC World making a comeback, of course, as they do every year? And the long wait for 64-bit version of Android, says PC World, is coming to a close, with Intel on Monday showing a version of the OS running on handsets. Now, the OS was shown running on a smartphone with Intel's new dual-core smartphone chip, codenamed Merrifield, during a press conference at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. Intel had already shown tablets running an unfinished version of 64-bit Android with its Atom chip, codenamed Bay Trail. But you see, that smartphone, according to them, was shown on stage by Herman Ewell, Vice President and General Manager of Intel's Mobile and Communications Group, and the demonstration was short, with Ewell taking a smartphone from his pocket and swiping through a few screens of the Android interface. And he said, "We have on Merrifield our 64 Android kernel," well, that's not the way he said it, but anyways, what he's saying is that he's going to prepare the world and the ecosystem for advances, and they're going to push the 64-bit adoption in mobile to a greater length. So that brings this edition of the CellPhonius podcast to an end. Thank you for subscribing to our channel on YouTube, CellPhonius, or you can also look us up on Google+, that's Danny Alvarez, or CellPhonius, and of course, you can always find us at cellphonius.com. And for cellphonius.com, this is Danny Alvarez, checking out.